Not forget to subscribe. Today's story about, guys, what made you realize this girl is definitely not into me? Gave a girl at work my number on a piece of paper and she handed it right back and said we talk at work all the time, so let's keep doing that. We set up a date. She stood me up. When I asked her, she simply said she forgot. Asked a girl if she wanted to grab lunch together sometime. She said she was busy that day, which was interesting as I never specified a day. Back in college, I took a girl on a lunch date. We had a really nice time. When it was getting time to leave, I told her I had to get to work. She said, "Where do you work?" I said McDonald's, and I literally could see her attitude shift in 1 second. Oh, cool. So as I'm driving her home, I said, "So can we hang out again?" She replies, "Yeah, totally." So the next day I text and ask if she wants to hang. She never responded. My roommate encouraged me to ask this girl out. He said she really liked me. So I ask her out and set a dinner date. I pick her up and at dinner, she barely responds to me. I ask questions about her major, her family, etc, and all I get back are short answers and no follow up. I'm frustrated and she's unhappy, and I guess we both look miserable when the waitress tells us that we need to perk up and be happy. She then asks how long we've been dating. Her face falls when I tell her this is the first date. She goes oh and walks away and doesn't really talk to us again. After dinner, we were supposed to go to a friend's house who was having a party, but I look at her in the car and say, "Look, obviously neither one of us had a good time. Instead of going to the party, why don't I take you back to your dorm?" She said yeah, and that was it. I went back to my roommate furious and asked him why he thought she had a crush on me. He said he thought she would once she got to know me. Yeah, well, she didn't. We flirted for several weeks, hung out every day. I kept feeling a closer and closer connection, but due to circumstances I could not control, we were never alone enough together for me to test it. Had some friends plan a camping trip and I invited her, and she said yes. I even specifically told her there's gonna be 2 couples there, so we are gonna be in a tent, just the 2 of us. She said yeah, she knows. Get to the trip, we have a few drinks and I ask her if she wants to take a walk with me to look at stars. I get it, it's corny, shut up. Once we are a little away from everyone, I tell her how much I like her and attempt to go in for a kiss. Nope, sorry chips canquizo, I'm not what you're looking for, shattered me, utterly gutted. The teacher assigned my crush to dance with me. She screamed no and chose another guy. Edit, I'll give more context. So this was our graduation trip and it's the last day of it. It was compulsory that everyone chose a partner of the opposite sex to dance with. Me having a crush on her was quite well known in my class, so all of them, including my teacher, suggested that I dance with her. And of course she refused and chose another random dude. I had to find another girl from another class that I never even talked to. Feel so bad, man. I once went on a date with this girl. Bought her dinner. Went downstairs to the bar/nightclub for a drink afterwards. She ran into some girlfriends and just went over to their table, sat down and started chatting and drinking. I sat alone for about 20 minutes, then just left without saying anything. Never heard from her again. I didn't realize until I asked her out. We had been talking and hanging out for a few months. She and I had matching personalities and we were both more energetic around each other than around others. I had a massive crush and I felt like taking a chance, so I told her I liked her and she said, "Damn, I'm really sorry, I feel we are better off as friends." I guess I didn't realize she wasn't into me until she said as such. I moped for a while before finally being able to have a shit happens attitude towards it. Nowadays she's happily with someone. Our friendship has faded away, which is actually more upsetting than being rejected romantically. I'm still single, but I'm happily single, so it's alright. If I ever feel that feeling again, I will always take that risk. Edit, reading all the replies, I still have a lot to learn and digest. I appreciate everyone's input. So I was on one, if the nightly FaceTime calls with this girl I was super into. Then at around 4 in the morning, she says that she is getting a call from someone and needed to answer. The next morning I see her Snapchat story of her on FaceTime with another guy. The next night I call her and she says she is already on call with someone, and it turns out to be the same guy. We lost touch and I'm pretty sure those two got together. Edit. I showed this post to her and said thanks for the karma. She found it funny and she said that at that time she was into me, but she just lost feelings and met another guy. We had a good laugh about it, LMAO. Also, I'm in a relationship at the moment. We both moved on, but she moved on a lot quicker. She kept talking about how she needed more commitment from me. Relationship had turned long distance. I was paying for the travel and doing the majority of the traveling. I was the one that had moved away. Sustained it for about a year, but I just realized that she wasn't into me enough to take what she perceived as a risk in moving 5-hour drive away from her family. Never spoke about her needing to show commitment to me. Think what finally did it was when she got a raise to similar to what I was making, and I brought up her starting to contribute to the travel costs, and she laughed like it was a joke. I clarified I was serious, and she brushed it off. Nope, I'm out. Stuck around longer than I should have. Was her first serious relationship, which in retrospect I think was a big factor in some of the immaturity. Also, I have to tell this because it's hilarious and I know for a fact it's true. A girl I know was dating a guy who turned out to be married. The wife found out but stayed with the husband. So the guy gets in a car accident and the side chick girl calls to see if he's okay. The dude tells her he has amnesia and doesn't remember her, and he's with his wife now. Homeboy done said he got amnesia to get rid of the side chick. We had been fooling around for a bit, and I had hopes of pursuing a relationship. She knew I had an app that I wouldn't be using that summer, college, and she needed a place to store some things. After a date I brought her back to my place for the first time and she quietly said, "This will do nicely." And I had a realization that I had been played. She stored her stuff for a bit, and I have barely seen her since. When we ran into her friend while on a walk and she introduced me as her friend. She then asked me what I thought of us and then proceeded to explain how she was still hung up over her ex and not ready for a relationship. She enjoyed being friends and still wanted to do that, but wanted to be clear that's all she could do. It was the first time a woman was ever direct with me instead of suddenly not answering my texts. I told her I respected her for that, and she apologized for women everywhere for ghosting so much. I didn't try to date anyone for many years after that. Her direct response changed my outlook on looking for a spouse in a positive way. This happened 3 years ago but still stings. Sorry for the cringe. Met this stunning girl through common friends, ex-ballerina, perfect body, beautiful face. We were at a barbecue, we start talking, and she kinda looks interested. All green flags. At the time I was just out of my previous relationship, and I was working out a lot. I was in very well shape. At the end of the night, with me being a bit drunk, I forgot to ask her number. I realize she looked kinda pissed when we say goodbye and I don't ask to see her again, but it is what it is. One of the common friends, close to her, asked me about her in the meanwhile, and I clearly say I was really into her and I couldn't wait to meet her again next time. Because of several coincidences we don't manage to meet again for a few months. In the meanwhile, stressed by heavy work and my studies, I was graduating. While working full-time job, I had stopped working out and put some kilos. Next time we meet is at a birthday party of another of the common friends. She arrives late because of work issues. I greet her and she acts like we never meet before. She even introduces herself like it's the first time I see her. Flag starts turning red at this point. Few minutes later music starts. People starts dancing. I was in a corner drinking wine and I see her close friend talking to her and indicating me. I don't understand what they say because of music and also because they are both Russians, but I clearly hear my name. Her face turns horrified. I finish my drink, find an excuse and leave. I was on a date where the girl's mom obviously made her go. We were family friends and my long-term girlfriend had just left me, so they felt bad for me. I figured I could give it a shot and maybe she'd start to like me. Halfway through the date she starts talking about a party she went to where she went skinny dipping in a lake and let multiple guys pull a train on her. I didn't even know how to react, let alone how to keep pursuing her. In high school we had a big key club get together in Seattle. Members from all over the state were there. They had a big dance one of the nights, and while it wasn't the first dance I'd attended, it was the first time a girl asked me to dance with them. I was so nervous, I spent the whole time watching others dance, so I could try to emulate their moves. Halfway through the song, she walked away without a word, and it occurred to me I had been giving her signs I wasn't interested. I wished I'd gone after her and explained. Even if it didn't make a difference, I thought she should know it wasn't her. Instead I sat out the rest of the night. And when she was sitting at our table the next morning for breakfast, I avoided eye contact and did my best to get drunk on orange juice. Dated this girl for about a month. You know how you put your arm around someone and they just naturally lean into you? Yeah, she never did that. I don't expect that on a first date, but after a couple of weeks of seeing each other I was expecting some kind of response to me. Oh, she told me she liked me, but how she acted was completely different. The moment was when we were at a concert. I was jumping up and down and yelling and singing. I looked over at her and she was standing there rigid as a pole. Asked her if she was having a good time and she said yes. She messaged me on a dating app saying hey, and we talked for the next 2 hours back and forth just talking. Things were going surprisingly well, and she was really easy to talk to. All of a sudden she just loses interest, no reason, no explanation. She leaves me on read, so I'm thinking oh okay, guess you aren't interested anymore then. I say hey a couple of days later, because she was clearly interested by the way she was talking to me, but she doesn't even open our chat, and it says she was online an hour ago when I sent the message 2 hours ago. So yeah, I came to the conclusion that she's not interested, and then she sends me a message the next day saying hey, which confused me because she ignored my messages for a couple of days, but regardless I say hey back, and then she just goes offline and doesn't reply again. What the F am I doing wrong?